Okay, and welcome back. We're going to look at chapter 12 today. We're going to be discussing simple interest versus compound interest. I'm going to get our future value table out of here because I think if we look at the math before we look at the table, one, you'll appreciate the table more, and two, you'll sort of understand what is the table doing. Why are these numbers there? So let's take a look at simple interest. We'll make simple interest red. And then we'll look at compound interest. Over here in blue. And let's imagine that we want to take $100, right? We're going to do, we'll look at 10% interest, okay? And we want to take $100. So we want to do 10% interest, and we're going to look at $100 just to make the math easy. And over here, to find simple interest, it's pretty easy. We take our $100, and we know, let's just look at, we're going to look at year 1, year 2, and year 3. And over here, we'll look at year 1, year 2, and year 3. And so we're going to earn 10% on $100. And simple interest, it's simple. You earn 10% on $100 every year. So over here, we would say we would earn $10 year 1, $10 year 2, and $10 in year 3 for a total of $30 plus our principal equals $130 even. Okay, now compounding is a little bit different. In compounding interest, we earn 10% on year 1. So what is our principal? Our principal is $100. So in year 1, we earn $10, right? So we have $10 because we have $100. Now, in compounding, it doesn't take the 10% from the principal. The principal changes now, or the what we take 10% of now changes. So in year 2, we're not doing 10% of $100. We're doing 10% of $110. Oh, so now to figure that out, we take 110 times 10%, and then that gives us $121 total. Okay? And then in year 3, we're not looking at 10% of 100. We're not looking at 10% of 110. Now we're looking at 10% of 121. And that gives us $133.10. And so our total over here for simple interest was 130, and our total over here for compounding interest, is $133. Compounding earns us an extra $3.10 in interest. And that's why we like, or we would prefer, compounding interest, because you earn more money if you're saving and earning compounding interest. And of course, if you're loaning money outright, you would love that. But we like compounding because the interest, right, as that money accumulates, it's like a snowball, right? You're adding more and more to it, and it has a snowball effect. So let's take a look at the math, right? If we were to take a look at what this would look like to do the math, 3 years, you might think, well, $3.10 is really not worth it. What do I care? Well, let's take a look at $100. And how do we know, to do this math over here? Let's imagine it's for 30 years. Right? You're going to make me do this 30 different times, I'm going to lose count, right? So there's actually some math involved in this, and there's a formula. There's a compounding interest formula, and the compounding interest formula is pretty simple. We'll put it in black over here, and this is right. Your total equals your principal times 1 plus your rate, right, over the number of periods per year. And this one, we're just going to do 30. We're going to keep it simple. It's just going to be annually. So 1. But this, excuse me, I'm sorry. This will be time, which we will, I already screwed up my formula here. I got ahead of myself, sorry. Which we'll denote with n. And then to the power of how many times per year you calculate that interest, and the time. So how many periods? So if we were to do $100 at 10% interest for 30 years. Okay, using the math over here, using our formula over here, how would we do this? Now, the nice thing is here, I'm going to teach you the math. You don't really have to do this. I'm just showing you. I'll just show you here in just a second, okay? So let's imagine we want to know, okay, what is our final amount going to be? Okay, so we want to know A, and then what we're going to do is our principal is $100, and we're going to plug in our numbers here. So it's going to be 1 plus, our rate is 10%, 0.1, one time a year. So every year we're going to do this. And then it's going to be 1, because we only do it once a year, for 30 years. Okay, so this breaks down pretty easily. So then we've got 100. 1 plus 0.1 divided by 1 is 0.1 to the power of 30. 100. 1.1 to the power of 30. Right? And then we're going to get 100 times 1.1 to the power of 30 gives you 17.4949022. It just keeps going and going. I'll stop it there. Okay? So we know, all right, I'm going to bring up my calculator here. So we want to know 100 times 17.4494. We'll just do that. Oh, and that comes up to, in 30 years, I'll have $1,744.94. I know. I don't know why I actually put that in the calculator, but I did. I wasn't thinking. That's pretty simple. It's pretty simple math, but oh well. All right. So $1,744.94. Okay. Now you may say, well, that doesn't seem like a ton of money. Hold on here. You put in $100 and you did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. You didn't have to go to work. You didn't have to push a broom. You didn't have to fill anything up. You didn't have to process anything for anybody. You didn't have to wait on anybody. Your $100, because of compounding interest, you just, well, you'd have to earn 10%, which is doable, but not super easy. And you'd have, close to $2,000. I mean, imagine if you were doing this with, a lot more than $100 for 30 years, and you're putting it in earning compound interest. Okay, so the number I really want you to focus on here is this 1744, right? So a lot of you are looking at this math and you're like, seriously, man, do I have to do this? That's a lot of math. That's a lot of, No, because if you go to your, right, that's 17.4494, right? If you look at your 12-1 table, a 12.1 table, you look over here and you'll notice we're going to look at 10% for 30 years. So we're going to look at this number right there. So I can take my $100 and I can multiply it instead of looking and doing the math. Oh, hey, look. The table already gives me all of that number. So I don't have to do the math for my $100. I can just take my $100, multiply it by this number, and voila, I have my answer, which is $1,744.94. Okay? So that is simple interest versus compounding interest. There's the math that you don't have to do, right? You can think your lucky stars, and you can say, this table does the math for me. So, for example, let's say I wanted to do $100 at, let's say, 6.5% interest, and I go down here, and then I would look, and I would multiply my $100 by 6.6144. And that would tell me, after 30 years at earning 6.5%, I can multiply my 100 by that, and that's how much I would have at the end of 30 years at 6.5%. Okay? Email me if you have any questions, and good luck on the homework.